What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I'm going to be doing a live lineup build for the pretty full tennis slate today, starting at 11 a.m. And what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. First, we're going to take a look at the projections really quickly. Then we're going to do the normal SaberSim process. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the Paydirt portfolio manager tool that I'm still trying to figure out the best way to integrate this with my other processes. If it's worth using, I mean, I use it always for predicting dupes. It's very good for that, which applies to both UFC and tennis, and it will obviously for showdown. But I'm still just kind of a tad ignorant on the best way to integrate that. So what we're going to do is um, first things first. We'll take a look at the projections real quick because it does seem as though you have this one bit of value that's probably going to end up pretty well jammed. So let's just share that with you guys just for the time being. What am I looking at here? Not a Chrome tab. I want a particular window, not this one either. Just see something. Well, tell you what, we'll share the whole screen for a second, just so that we can look at it. All right, so just 1 second. So as you can see, there's Alexander Block, who is basically a 2-to-1 favorite, who's 6,800. So he's showing up as obviously a very strong value, and I'm very tempted to increase his ownership a little bit in my processes, but I'm gonna live with this for now, and we'll see what ends up happening. But he looks like the real big, obvious play, and then the other two values that I have is pretty strong here are Caroline Dolehide and Chris O'Connell. I don't have them projected as such high ownership, so we'll see what we end up getting to. But I would certainly expect to see quite a bit of Alexander Block, I guess, as kind of the value du jour here. Okay, let's take a look at the SaberSim screen here. Okay, let me just make sure that we have what we have. Let's share. Let's stop screen sharing. And now we will share screen with the build 3. Let's just make sure we're seeing that. Good. All right, sorry about that. So what we want to do, and then James is going to be joining us within a few minutes. So this is just the normal process. Right? I think you've got to be able to do this to at least compete in tennis, probably in all sports. But so the first thing is that you do have to have a really good set of projections because everybody else does in tennis. Really, it's not very difficult to project tennis as far as DFS goes, and with no correlation, it's there's not a lot of art to it, So you've got to have a good set of projections, and I think that I've learned how to do these myself, especially tennis, and getting pretty good at it. Honestly, I still don't think that my projections are as good as maybe each individual site, but I think overall I'm very happy with them. And as far as ownership goes, I will still put my ownership projections up against anybody right now. Anyway, so that's the first thing is I uploaded my own projections here to SaberSim, and I also uploaded my ownership projections. And the other thing that we did was we saved a contest field using those ownership projections. So you'll see under field lineups, there's one that says sheets. I already did that before we got on here. And all we basically did was when I uploaded my lineups, SaberSim gave me the option to create my own contest field. And for just the lottery, as you'll see here, I'm playing the king of the baseliners, I'm playing the break point, and I'm playing the lottery. Just for the lottery, I did change the field lineups to my fields as opposed to what SaberSim does. Just because again, I'm feel more comfortable in my ownership projections for the lottery than SaberSim. So I'm going to keep those. Unfortunately, I don't have my own ownership projections for the specifically for the bigger buy-ins. So I kind of have no choice but to just um kind of accept what SaberSim gives me as far as the the fields go. Okay. So again, so the first thing that you do is I uploaded my dummy lineups. They're all in here, and then you just run a build. Okay. And I built 5,000 lineups. I think that's plenty for tennis. And then I mean, I'll just do it again if you want. I mean, you'll run a new sim, and you're just gonna telling SaberSim to compare the 5,000 lineups that you built against the various fields that you've assigned. Okay. Um, so there it goes. So you see one of three contests completed, two of three contests completed, three of three, and then it says diversifying lineups. So this is like the new thing with SaberSim that not only can you rate them by the best ROIs, but you can also use its portfolio manager tool to ostensibly, you know, manage a portfolio. You know what I mean? It's not just separating it by min uniques one, min uniques two. It's considering how much money you have for each individual player across your entire pool of contests and diversifying them for you. And listen, I have my own thoughts on this. I think that it's much better, at least in theory, than just doing your top lineups. Um, but I still think that it's probably very weak as far as a portfolio manager tool. But it's I don't want to put this the wrong way. It's weak only because I know that in a year it's going to be better. Okay. Um, but it's strong in that it's stronger than not having one. Okay. So that's what I accept as far as the SaberSim portfolio diversification tool is that it's better than everything was, but still pretty weak. So just don't think that you're automatically getting like perfectly optimal portfolio management tools here. It's just not the case, but they're working on it. Okay. And that's better than nothing. So that's the first thing that I did was I ran 5,000 lineups. Then I compare the 5,000 lineups to each individual contest field and then just kind of fired it. Okay. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could show you who I have with this, but as you might imagine, Alexander Blocks, because of that really, really good value, it's going to show up as the highest owned. It's just the way it's going to be. Um, but if you do this, and I hate to be the kind of the Grinch here, but if you do this, you're really doing what everybody else that's any good is doing. Okay. Um, I would say that the one thing that I would rely on at this point in the process is that I'm confident that my projections are better than average. So I think that between using the best tools, using them in the kind of default manner, and then having projections which I think are better than average, probably is good enough to give you an edge. Um, but I like to go a little bit further. That's why I try to use the portfolio manager tool. Oh my God, $2 for the Red Bull and Cannabis Fund. Good grief. Okay, we gotta redonate that to somebody else, but very, very nice. Before James gets here, because I do want to spend some time in the portfolio manager tool. Um, I want to answer this at least one question. Do you allow players against each other? No. Um, that's just because the okay. the contest has to be very. Why can't I speak today? There has to be very few matches in the contest to make it worth stacking or playing players against each other. And I don't play those slates anyway, so that's why I don't. Like, if you had an 8-game slate, sure, you'd have to allow players against each other, but I don't play those types of slates anyway, so I end up never leaving them, never having it. And if you use SaberSim, they almost will never allow you to. Actually, there's probably a slate size where they do allow you to do that, but aside from that, whatever. So what can we do here? I'll show you what I do with the portfolio manager tool, and then we'll have James come up see what else we could do. Let's add him. Let's add him right now. Hey, what's going on, James? Wait, I don't hear you.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Now I can hear you.
Yeah,
So
what's up?
and welcome, James. Owner, developer, chief guru of Paydirt, and I was explaining to everybody, about my process and that I'm very confident that my projections are better than average, and I'm very confident that my ownership projections are better than average. And I'm also confident that if I use those projections and ownership, and I use the SaberSim process, which is using my projections for a contest field, and then maybe using SaberSims for the big buy-ins because I don't have fields for those, and using their primitive but at least a valiant attempt at a portfolio manager tool. I feel that's good, and it's good, but it's not. And I think that people need to at least do that, okay, to even be remotely competitive. But as I try to continue to expand my process, I try to use all these other things. And I gave kind of a quick preview of the portfolio manager tool in that I integrate in my process as much as I can. But like for now, I've honestly only been able to, I don't say justify, but I've only been able to deal with it, using it as a dupe predictor,
Right.
and to take the lineups that I build anyway, and then have it predict dupes. And that's only because, as I mentioned, I'm just, and I use this term in the right way, I'm just sort of ignorant, to the best ways to kind of use this. So what I do for now, okay, well, forget what I do for now. So let's flash the portfolio manager.
Yep.
One thing I have done is I've gotten better at navigating it.
Yeah.
So whenever you use the portfolio manager, the first thing that you're going to have to do is there are 3 files that you need to upload. All right. The first one is going to be this CSV file where you're basically telling Paydirt, you're making sure that the names match, and the DFS, the slate IDs match, whatever. So I've learned to not get fancy and just to download it right from the salaries, like James showed me to do. So that kind of loads right there. Now I don't know if it used to be this way that you actually had to do this first. I don't know if that's still the case, but I just do it anyway, just because it may as well. And then the next thing that you have to put in is a projections file. Now there is a template which I don't want to waste time showing, but I used the template. Hold on, and then I put my projections up here like this. Did you want to interrupt for a sec, or?
No, I mean, so the way that this has been put together now, you need the CSV, the site CSV, like you said, for exports mostly.
Yeah.
What it's there for is to make sure that when you load your portfolio file and your projections file, that the names in the portfolio and the names in the projections also match the names on the site.
Okay.
That mostly being because I have no idea where people are going to upload things from. There's a whole lot of juniors and seconds and fucking weird ass names out there. Where we just need to match them up.
Okay.
So that's mostly the reason.
So to that point, I put the projections up. I finally figured out the right way to put that in the template. And then it's a question of what you're going to put in this portfolio file. So what I do sometimes, James, is okay. So I said I went through this whole process and I have my 60 lineups. I'm in there. But then what I do is I download like kind of the raw file, like all the 5,000 lineups that I created here from SaberSim. Okay. so I can work with this a little bit. And what I sometimes do, like let's say I was doing MMA, like again, these are sort by say ROI, whatever contest I'm in here, right? I'd sort by here, and I would just use the top, whatever. Let's say MMA, I would use the top 300, okay, and then I would throw them into the portfolio manager tool, sort for dupes, and it's kind of like beyond my way. But what I want to do this time is kind of like almost start from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to just take the top like ROI lineups because what I think I'd be doing there is almost like double counting. You know what I mean? Start by saying, okay, I've already done this process and this is what I like, so I'm going to only test these. Kind of want to test them all,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't even, you know, it's going to keep the same median projection anyway, right? So what I think I want to do is just basically just put all 5,000 lineups in, and then we'll just kind of just roll, right? So what you have to do, you have to delete like these columns over here so that all you're downloading is the actual files. Now you see, by the way, that you'll have just all these numbers here, and one of the reasons why we did this CSV file. Hold on, let me get back there. Oh, I was just but I didn't show people the file that I created.
Yeah, I was gonna let you keep going there for a second.
Yeah,
but
no, that's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go this, and then we're gonna again. I'm not that great at this, so let's do the whole screen again, and this, and then I'll show you again. I'll do this exact same process before. So what I did was I just basically would download this entire pool from SaberSim. Like instead of just using the top whatever, let's just literally download the whole pool here. So what I was saying, what I used to do, James, is just sort by ROI, okay, and then just download like the top 50 or top 300 or whatever. But I don't want to bias even the portfolio manager. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to tell it that this so much. So I'm just going to just download all 5,000, not even telling it what they are, and just kind of like start. It's going to have because I have the projection files and the ownership files, it'll be able to figure all that out, right? So let's save this, and we're going to call this we'll call this Paydirt 728, I guess. Boom. Okay. And so then we'll go back to the Paydirt portfolio manager, and we are in there, which is good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to upload those files. Now you'll see you have this drop down where you can choose what source you're updating from. So if you were pulling in lineups from DraftKings, already that they were already DraftKings lineups, or maybe I don't know what are some of the optimizers use, whatever, then it might look a little different. It might say you might have the names and the IDs, but if you use it from SaberSim, James is nice enough to like create this kind of tool that allows it to recognize this as long as you put the right CSV in here.
Yep.
So we'll put it in here. We'll go Paydirt 728, and then so now it's got all this data in here, and then you can click Manage Portfolio. But before you do that, there are other things that you can do. Well, first you hit Manage Portfolio, and then what you can do is you can tell it what type of field strength to use. I always like to click sharp just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Contest size is not 25,000, but we'll do it anyway. And then you click submit size or strength. You see this little dude kind of working out over here. And I'll like if I were only putting in like 300 lineups, or excuse me, if I were only testing 300 lineups, all I would do is download the I would just download the portfolio like this, and then I would literally just look at dupes and just make sure there are no dupes and just kind of be on my way. Now, the good thing is in tennis, I mean, especially on this big slate, probably not going to have any dupes anyway. So I'm not really worried too much about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you do if you were me? I'm confident in my projections. I'm confident in my ownership projections, and now I have all these lineups like put into this freaking system. What would you do like with this from here?
So the first thing that I would do is I would want to just go down below this, right? And I would want to go and say analyze players. And I use this obviously for MLB. So I also want to look at stacks. Now, stacks are not going to matter when you're looking at tennis. But so go below this and just kind of take a look and see what happened there. Scroll over to or put your mouse over on the side of that. Like there. Yeah. And then scroll down. Okay.
Oh.
So I want to know some things in tennis and NBA, right, that kind of tell me about what kind of lineups are built around what kind of players and get an idea of what players are giving me the most value. So I like to look at things like this just from the beginning. I know that you're a big, like, I don't care who's in my portfolio type of guy, but a lot of people want to know who they're playing around. And there are some values, and I'll show off the combos here in a second. But
now, just before you even get going, I just want to let you know that in the intro, I did go through some of the projection. I did tell everybody that it will be very likely that this Alexander Block was going to just show up in a ton of stuff. He's like a minus 200 favorite, and he's 6,800. By the way, I will throw in, by the way, that Paydirt actually internally has not all the time, but sometimes has some pretty decent tennis information from this guy Hatter that does his models. I still haven't figured out how to actually use that for DFS, but it's definitely good information. Maybe one day, maybe for the U.S. Open, we'll probably have him up again, and we'll do that. But presuming again that we have our projections here, I did pre-warn people that we were going to be having a bunch of Alexander Blocks no matter what we did. So here we are.
So you can see, even with all of that exposure and even at what is likely going to be high ownership, the average lineup edge around blocks is still positive, right? Like it's still 1.
Okay, so once again, tell everybody, as you're always telling me as well, what does that mean, lineup edge?
So lineup edge it's based around the whole lineup, right? So we're looking at how it is related to players within lineups right now, but it's around the whole lineup, and it takes into account things like finish position, dupe count, and median score, right? So you can think of it as a one-line algorithm to tell you how a lineup would sim out. So technically, if you were looking at your SaberSim ROI next to the Paydirt lineup edge, those are kind of the same thing. It's telling you how much value a lineup has. So Alexander Block, you can see the average lineup edge is still positive around that player, even though they're likely to have relatively high ownership and likely to be somebody who a lot of people use. So if you sort this specifically by average lineup edge, if you sort it by highest to lowest or lowest to highest, and you can just do it in the app too. You don't have
I can do it in the app. I don't even have to do it over here, huh?
Right. Yeah. So you can minimize that and just see, for these players, who is the worst, right? And who is the best. So the players that offer the highest average lineup edge are going to be Fabian and Camilla and Gyo. The player who you have the most of, right? Because you only have 69 lineups with Gyo.
Right.
But Roberto, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. You have 21%. That is technically the player that is offering you the most average lineup edge, right? So that's a player that you would say, okay, well, I kind of want to maintain that player a bit more as I'm going through my builds. Not you, because I know that you don't care about that stuff.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
And if you were to build, say that you were going to build a single entry lineup, right? You would look at this and say, oh, well, Roberto and Caroline and Block are players that I have in a lot of my lineups that offer me a lot of positive lineup edge. Building around those guys probably makes a lot of sense too. So now moving over really quick to the combos, you see how right now we're on player stats. If you go over to combos instead, so this is a relatively new addition. This will let you see the player combinations that you have and analyze the combos around them. So I have it right now for combo sizes of 2 and 3. And this will tell you in your portfolio the combos of players, how often you have them, the exposure of that player combo, and the average lineup edge, average finish percentage, all that kind of shit, right? Mm-hmm. So the combo that you have the most of the 2-player combo you have the most of is Block and Osaka.
And this is remember, this is of the 5,000 line.
Right. Yeah. And this is you have them in 20% of your total portfolio, and they're about a neutral edge, right? The second highest combo that you have is Block and O'Connell, and this one has an average lineup edge of plus 2.44%. You have them in 16% of your lineups. The one that you have the most of that is a high negative leverage there is that Munar plus Block, where you have them in 13% of your total lineups. The average finish percentage is 7.3%, and the average lineup edge is negative 7.75%. So again, from I am looking at this and trying to maximize my lineup edge perspective, like that combo is maybe a combo that you'd want to avoid because it's a combo that is offering a lot of negative lineup edge. From a single entry lineup perspective, right? Like you probably would not want to have those two together if you were looking at it just from I want to maximize my lineup edge perspective. Now, quick caveat after I have said that. When I build out my portfolios, I don't mind having a deviation of lineup edge. I don't mind having very high to very low. And the reason for that is because I like spreading out across, having my little dudes be able to land in a lot of different areas in terms of finishing percentiles and stuff like that. Because even though a lineup has negative edge, like, I mean, I don't mind having some portion of my portfolio into a hedge, which is basically what that is. If my projections think that it's a negative lineup edge, that means that a lot of other people are likely on it. So I would like to have a little bit of a hedge. I don't want to have a lot of it, but I don't mind having some hedges here and there.
I would like to interrupt by saying that I've messed around, not messed around. I've sorted by lineup edge on many slates for both tennis and UFC, and just to give you guys a little bit of color, like if you, because it's tempting to do that, you know, to say, you know what, this is lineup edge. I'm just going to take the top 50 lineup edge lineups, you know, and just fire them, you know. Well, why not? Well, I will say that those lineups are extremely low owned. Okay.
Yeah, usually.
And extremely aggressive. So I guess to your point, it's not the worst idea to kind of spread out your risk profile between lineup edges, I suppose. Yeah. But is there anything, at least as far as best practices, or are there certain lineup edges you just wouldn't want?
So the thing that I care more about is finishing percentile.
Okay.
I like to avoid like when we talk about presets here in a second and like the filters, I like to avoid lineups that have a finishing percentile that is higher than 10th percentile. So right now it's only showing lineups 1 to 100. So when you sort that, you're only looking at the top 100 lineups, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So let's go up really quick and just see something. So if you go up and you have this left sidebar over here in the macro filter options,
okay,
drop that down. And something that I will usually do is there's this option of max acceptable finish percentile. Change that to just 10%. So instead of, right now it's at 50%. So change to 10%.
Now again, I'm the guinea pig, so I'm going to ask the questions that people feel like, oh my God, I feel so dumb asking this. Yeah. So you want the lower finishing percentile.
Yeah, because you want to finish when we talk about finishing rates and stuff like that, you aim for top 1% finishes. So,
but win percentage you want high.
Well, win percentage, yeah, you want high. Yeah. As high as it'll go. Win percentage is inherently low.
So this is the only one that, I mean, you want again, median you want high, ownership you want low, dupes you want low, finish percentage you want low, win percentage you want high, edge you want high, weighted own you want low, geomean you want low, diversity you want high. Okay. All right. Yeah. So what about minimum acceptable lineup edge?
So let's just keep that at negative 50% for now, because I want to test something. So right now you have 4,996 lineups loaded in.
Okay.
If you go and click the submit on this, let's see how many lineups it removes that are outside of that top 10th percentile. So then go back up and see how many lineups we have left. So that 40. Removed about 100 lineups.
That's it. Okay.
Lineups. So there were only 150 lineups that I personally would not have used.
Okay. Okay.
And that's something that I kind of just like set as a baseline. And I do that every single time when I run through things.
And the point one is just what you found is a good way to start. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also like think about what, like if you finish outside of the top 10% in a DFS contest in a GPP, you're not making money. Like you're fucked. So that's kind of the baseline expectation for me that I set. Now, the next thing, and you can collapse back up that macro filter, because that's usually at the start the main thing that I will do. So then what I want to do, as I am just like thinking through things, I have a couple different things here, but the main one that I've been using lately is this stratify stuff. So drop that down really quick.
This is a new one. Okay.
It's the new one. So what this is doing is it's going to give you a linear representation of your portfolio based on the stat that you choose. So if we wanted to see, and let's just say choose diversity for this one, because diversity is an important one for me. What this is going to try to do is it's going to look at the diversity score, and you try to say 150 lineups here. And if you click that, then what it'll do is it will try to give you 150 lineups that are diversified across your diversity scores. So what it'll do, if you look at this, stop sorting by finish, because it's still sorting by finish percentage. So what it'll do now is it'll say, okay, here is the highest diversity score that you have, and here's the lowest diversity score that you have. And we had 4,800 lineups, right? So what it'll do is it'll say, okay, I need 150 out of that 4,800. It's going to split those up into chunks based on 4,800 divided by 150, which is like 3.6 lineups or whatever, right? So then every 3.6 out of that diversity score, it'll take the next lineup, and then it'll cut out in the middle. So you can think of it like if you have 10 lineups and you wanted an even distribution of 5 of those lineups, it's 10 divided by 2. It'll split up the diversity score by 2 by chunks of 2, and then it'll take those lineups at each different threshold.
All right, diversity score, go backwards. What does that mean?
So diversity score is if you have, so sort that diversity score by the lowest really quick. And then go over and look at the lineups that you have there.
How do we do that again?
Or you can make your lineups. You can just look at those, right? So if you look over to the left, you can see that these lineups are mostly going to be mostly the same. And you can even download this if you want, if that'll help you.
100%. I mean, that's so funny. I usually don't do it from the app. I usually just kind of mess around from here.
Sure. So if you want to, you can sort these by diversity if you want. Just sort these diversity lowest to highest.
Yeah, you could just.
Okay. So the thing with these is that these lineups are going to be very, very similar to one another. In terms of like the expansive of your portfolio, these lineups that have a low diversity score are going to be very similar to all of the lineups in your portfolio. So the higher diversity lineups are going to be lineups that are not very similar to the rest of the lineups in your portfolio. So this is a natural way of building out diversification without looking to change your exposures or change your medians or whatever, right? Like all that we care about is, okay, we have loaded lineups and we like these lineups. So just give me lineups that are a bit different from the lineups that have been loaded, right? I use this a lot, but I use it as a part of my portfolio. Now for you, say that you were going to load in like what you usually do, just load in the top 300 lineups in terms of ROI, right? Sure. If you wanted to choose 100 lineups out of that, you would just stratify based on diversity. And now you have, out of lineups that you already know are good in terms of ROI based on SaberSim, if you just wanted to have a set of lineups that are built that have good representation and also are different top to bottom, that's how you do it, right? And that's a very powerful way of doing that.
Yeah. So this is the order of operations. Okay. So you have 5,000 lineups, okay, that you created from SaberSim, right? And this is what I was trying to talk about before. Let's say that we want to again, let's trust our ROIs a little bit, and let's trust our ROIs a lot better than we can trust our scrolling. And let's take the top, like you said, top. We're playing 60 lineups just for funsies. We'll take the top 200.
Yeah. There you go.
we'll do 150, whatever. So let's shift, get rid of everything else. And then again, we're going to do is you have to take out all this crap.
Yeah.
And then here, delete, and then we will save this again as Paydirt revised. And now the first thing that we have to do when we go back in this is, do we have to, okay, how do we get back?
So click the minimize button over on the top right. Nope. That one. Yep. Close full screen.
What's that?
It's just close full screen. If you close the full screen, then it'll minimize back.
Oh, wait. Okay, so now we're going to go back to clear data. No, data load, right?
Yep. Data load.
Now, do we have to clear all the data or no?
Yeah. Click all your X's and then reload.
Oh, we got to reload everything.
Yep.
Okay.
You'll want to hit clear data really quick.
Oh, okay.
As a full reset.
Yep. Okay, DK salaries, projection file would be right here. And then these new guys, Paydirt revised. Okay, so the point I was making is that what this is trying to do is replace the diversification piece
Right.
of the thing. So we're going to like our lineups, but what we're going to do is instead of doing the portfolio diversification tool, we're going to use the portfolio manager diversity score. So you want to do it from here, from macro, or no?
So from stratify.
Stratify.
And then choose diversification.
Look at all these and just sort by, right?
Say that again.
We can just download these whole things and sort by diversity score too, right?
No. I mean, you could, but what you want to do with this, if you have 150 lineups, if you only want 60, then try to build out 60 here, right?
All right. So what are we doing here? So diversity.
Diversity. Yep.
And then build 60.
Yep. And it will aim to do 60. If it only produces, so it only produces 48 because there are, if there are lineups that are the same diversity, then it will remove those. So it'll remove duplicates, basically. So go back up and reset it.
Where?
Scroll up a little bit more on the actual app itself. And reset portfolio.
Okay.
So instead, let's try to produce, instead of 60 there, put 80.
70? 80.
Yeah. There you go.
Close enough.
Yeah. There you go.
So how do we get these? We can just download these?
Yeah, you can just download that.
Just first of all, just because we're going to put our money where our mouths are. This is what we're playing, by the way. Just because there's only 7 minutes of post time, then we can screw around a little bit, but I want to make sure that at least I get what I want here. And we still don't have an entry editor, an uploader, which is fine. Why am I over here? Oh, look at this. They're making my life a little difficult, but that's okay.
Hey, man.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. I've learned not to get frustrated.
Yeah. Keep your blood pressure down.
Yeah, that's the one thing. When I go to my doctor every year, and I tell them what I do for a living with my hedge fund, they say, "How is your blood pressure so low?" Well, it's true. Let's see. All right, let's get edit entries. As I like to say, plenty of time. Tennis. By the way, this past weekend in MMA was the I want to say worst in the wrong way, but it was the most challenging as far as being able to make money. There was one 150 maxer who profited.
Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy.
Pretty crazy. Okay, so we're now in. So the money's being put where our mouth is now. What else could we do from this point? But But you like the diversity score, huh?
Yeah, the diversity score is good. I like that algorithm. I think that it works really, really well. Another thing that you could do, like if you wanted to look at who you were uploading, which obviously people like to do. One of the things that I like to do is so reset the portfolio really quick. And then go back down and analyze the players like we did before. So one thing that I like to do here, we can take a look at this and we know that we have, 57% of block, we have 54, 53, 52. And then go back up there and now submit that diversity score really quick and submit it for, it's in the filters over on the left.
Oh, right here for 60, 80 again?
Yeah, just run 80. And then go down and check that again and kind of see who you ended up with. One of the things that I'll do when I'm building out MLB is I'll do this a couple times. And so you ended up getting more block and less Roberto.
Okay.
A little bit more Dolade, a little bit more O'Connell. So it's kind of, I think that it's interesting to see. I should actually add a column there that shows average lineup diversity. I'm going to take a note down and add that because I think that that's something that I like to see. Just so that I can get an idea.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start giving this a try with the diversity score again because that's the see that's and again I don't want to get too into it but that was the that whole part of the new SaberSim update is the part that to me is the most fishy. Not because I know it's fishy, it's just that it's just I don't know, it's kind of hard to believe it's any good.
Well, what do they do? Because I'm not a SaberSim user.
So what they did, okay, was what they used to do is in classic mode, they would, you put your 5,000 lineups in, they would, sim everything against the contest sims, give you your lineups, but then, okay, so how do you rate them? So if you just rate them just by straight ROI, what you might end up getting is just a way overwhelming concentration of a team, of like a really low owned team that that shows up in maybe 4% of your pool, but like the top 25 year lineup. So to fight that, first thing that they try to do, like everybody, say, okay, here I'll make it easier for you to play more min uniques. Min uniques 2, min uniques 3, min uniques 4 to diversify. But that's very primitive, and they admit it. To diversify in that way is primitive because what it is okay. Your second lineup's got to be min unique 2 from the first, and then the third one's got to be min unique 2 from the others. And by the time you get down to the end, you know what I mean? Like it's become very strange. So what they did was they worked on this new portfolio diversification setting where what they do is allegedly, listen, they say they do it, but you can't. They're very, very secretive about what their black box is that they literally diversify your portfolio across your contests and say, okay, you got X amount of money on this guy. Like now you see how have money exposure, right? And if X amount of money in this guy in this contest, and it ostensibly like gets you a little more diverse. So the impact of that is you end up with a lot more chalky lineups, so to speak, and a lot more diverse lineups. And I've said that it's definitely has to be better than just going min uniques, but it definitely has to be worse than it's going to be in a year. I just don't know how bad it is now. But that seems to be the new the finally people are getting onto this idea that you do have to do some attempt to manage portfolios. So I that's why I'm going to be trying to use the without even knowing what it is, what I mean, the diversity score to try to again I'll use that too and then try to backtest them and see what makes the most sense for me as a portfolio manager, not a DFS player, so that's the new that's the new thing. So what ends up happening? I mean, it's so like they say it's doing stuff, but you just don't know. Like and this is like you'll hit run the sims and it'll sim everything, and then after that it's going to say diversifying diversifying lineups, and you don't know what that means. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so it's kind of hard to. I mean, listen. I love the guys, so I'll accept it. You know what I mean? Like for now, but I know it's got to. It can't be great. It
Yeah.
just can't be. So it says like look, diversifying lineups, woohoo, right? And then what happens is if you compare what your builds look like in your port in this mode compared to what you'd be getting in regular mode, depending on the sport, it makes a big difference. Like in tennis, not too much, but in baseball, like if you went into the old mode where they just sorted by ROI, you get 70% of whoever not I'm being exaggerating, but you get a huge amount of whoever the stack is against the chalk pitcher, right?
Right.
That's that you end up getting. And now with the portfolio diversification tool, you wouldn't get that much. You know what I mean? It's just a lot more spread out, and it's even funny. Like a couple of days ago, there was this whole thing and it's very noticeable because all of a sudden, like they must have hit some switch, and everybody's like, oh my god! All of a sudden, we're jamming in all the underdogs again. What did you guys do to the update? And they literally had to go. They're good. They're great about this. They went and checked. Oh yeah, we changed some logic or you know how everybody talks about all their stuff. Right? I'm like, you mean you forgot to hit Control E or something like that? But they supposedly fixed it. But listen, this is all great. It's all great work in progress, and like you love building tools out and improving upon your own. I was thinking about this earlier, James, and it's like as I was walking down the hall preparing for this, I'm like, it's kind of nuts, like to see how things have developed. I mean, it wasn't too long ago, really, that you had like optimizers that were like, you know what I mean? Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You build lines and you can build like more than two at the same time, and from that became other things. So I think it's all pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean we have to
Oh,
we have
what we can do?
what
I
up?
don't know how quickly it happens, but you told me that with this that with the contest view, you can look at the contests.
Yeah, you can do
Like it just locked. You think you'd see it now or no?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you can do it.
Where do we go?
So go to experimental
Mm-hmm.
contest
Contest
analyzer.
analyzer.
Yeah.
There's no way it's updated right away. We'll see.
I mean, it'll pull in whatever there is in that contest. Go to select sport.
With contest analysis first or no?
No. Go to select sport.
Oh,
You gotta load it up first. Oh, tennis isn't ready yet.
We don't have it yet. Okay, fair enough.
So the thing DraftKings is very dumb sometimes about the way they maintain their APIs and their backend.
Okay.
For some reason, tennis as a game type is not like the vast majority of other contests. The game type object is regular or showdown or captain showdown. Like they have certain game types. For tennis, I haven't tracked down exactly what it is yet. I think it's short slate maybe, or like short term or something. I don't know. But like I haven't quite been able to track it down quite yet. So hopefully working on it this week. I did get NASCAR up though. So people who want to go look at stuff, I do have NASCAR stuff available. The other thing that I did recently with Contest Analyzer is it loads considerably faster now. I did some speed optimization. So now, like, if you're loading, say you were loading like the PGA Minimax, which is like 90,000 entries or something like that, it used to take like upwards of 45 seconds to load. Now it loads considerably faster than that. So
we're gonna do something real quick just to show how hard this is. Hold on, let's see. This is okay, so we are going to see real quick. Yeah, so this was, I knew this was going to happen. So what this is doing, this is comparing actual ownership to what was projected.
Yeah.
And how bad this was. Yeah, this tennis is so hard, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where my biggest mistakes were. So yeah. So I had Munar at 39. He was only 22. And I you know what? Before you even got on, I said that I was going to move Block up to 4, left him at 26 or whatever. These are just kind of fun things to look at. I presume I have no dupes, but we can always check that. All right. I am going to get going. Again, the more I learn, the better for me. So that's why I do these completely for selfish reasons. And
I would say really quick, as for people who are watching, those new stratify functions, those are really, really good for taking, like, one thing that you do is if you're going to MME, right, and you MME into whatever you play, I'll be in the $5 day, right? If you're also playing like 3 max or 20 max or whatever, those diversification tools, those stratify tools are great for that, right? So if you have 150 lineups that you're playing, load those into the portfolio manager after you've uploaded in your MME set, and then choose to stratify on diversification. So you get a nice, representation in, so you want 10 lineups, right? You take 10 lineups out of your 150 that you already have in MME, and then upload those into, whatever contest is 10, or do it for 3 or do it for 5 or whatever, right? It's just they're really good functions to be able to find kind of good representations of your lineup based on stats. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So, and in punishment, listen, this is really for the people. I was helping for everybody, and I didn't even realize that there was a match that was canceled. So like 20% of my lineups are dead, but that's okay.
Rip.
It was the Watsanuki Altemeyer match is apparently, as per Willie K, 25 minutes ago, which I should have noticed, was canceled.
We were gabbing. It's okay. It's like good. $14, whatever.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean, like 30% of my LCK lineups are dead every day.
Right. Yeah. Who the fuck cares? Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
All right, guys. Shout out to Paydirt. You can access some of their stuff through TrueDFS, some of their stuff just from Paydirt, and they're really, really good. All right, I will catch you guys later. See you later, James.
See ya.